Tonight is July the 28th, 2014, and I'm going to make the video that I mentioned in the YouTube posting I had a week or so ago. And I'm going to actually show you what the SWR is of these little antennas. This one is touted to be 7 dBi at 2.4 gigahertz. It actually came with this base. I've changed out this little pigtail because the original wire that came with it was about 3 feet long, and we had I think 3 dB loss in it. This is something I got off the internet. So anyway, all these little antennas, the quad, the dual quad, and the little Yagi, I'll show you how they perform. The first thing I do is check my equipment, because everything matters at 2 gigahertz, especially 2.4, to have confidence that everything is set up right. So I'm running at 2410 megahertz, 0 dBm. 0 dBm would be the square root of WR, which is 0.001, enter 50 times square root, about 0.23 volts. Let's say 0.001, enter 50 times square root. Yeah, 0.22. I knew that. I punched something wrong. About 220 millivolts. And the way that this is set up in linear mode, see, I've got amplitude, scale, linear. Well, it should be at the very peak is 220 millivolts right there, but I have some loss in this cable, and I'll show you how I reconcile that. If I run this up to right there, whoops, now let's set it 220 millivolts right there. See, if you can, hope you can read this, 221.0 millivolts. And if I run this up, we're going to set it right at the very top, right there. See, that's about, I have to raise it about 0.7 dB because I have about 0.7 dB loss in this piece of cable. Now, how would I know that? I'll show you how I check that, how I verify that. So I put another piece of cable in series with it, exactly the same, right here. Well, this is tough doing with one hand, but I've got to twist it on there quickly, and then I'll show you. Sorry for the distraction there. See, now I put another piece, and I put it over here, and let's see what it is then. Whoops, darn, I bumped it. I bumped this. We got to set that back to 220. Yeah, 221. See how it's down again? But if I crank this up, it's at a 0.7. Watch as I crank it up. There it is. It's a 1.5. If I kick it to right there, 1.4. See, that verifies it for every length I put in here. I got about a 0.7 dB loss, so that verifies that my 0 dBm here is actually 0 dBm up here minus the loss. So everything's in order. This is the way we read it out. And what we're going to do is we're going to read it in linear mode, and we're going to do the voltage, and we'll take 20 times the log of the voltage ratios to determine dB loss. Because if we measure this thing, if we try measuring this in a logarithmic scale for power, if we try to do power measurements with in the log scale, it's 10 dB from here to here. So each little dot is 2 dB, and it makes it, the resolution is very difficult. So this is a little more complicated, but it'll actually give us better readings. So that's the equipment set up. I'll be using, to measure SWR, this little amplifier right here. It puts out about 300 milliwatts at 2.4 gig. I use this bird element right here. It's a specialty element. 1 watt, goes from 2.4 to 2.5 gig. I hook it up via coax cable over to a digital readout, so it's real easy to read. And this is my reference antenna. All of the antennas will be here. They're going to be just as far over to the corner over here as I can get them. And then I'll have to come over here, staying out of the way, and make measurements, and we'll compare our reference antennas. This one's going to be screwed onto here, and our other reference antenna right here. That's where we'll start. We'll compare everything to these little 1.2 inch monopoles. Okay, This is a little redundant as I've explained this in the other videos, but I think it's necessary for those that haven't seen the others. So let me get started. Okay, here's our reference antenna. I don't know if you can read it, but it's about 78 millivolts. We're going to write that down. That is our reference antenna, and I have to get far away from it so that I don't affect it. So I can move around a little bit over here without affecting it very much. But it is very, very sensitive in linear mode. So that's about 78 millivolts. Okay, we'll write that one down. Let's go back over here and I'll show you what I'm doing here. That's this antenna transmitting. And here's the forward. Forward power is 1/2 watt. And when I put the element in reverse power, like that, we get 0. So I've got virtually the perfect match. Okay, that's our reference antenna. We're going to compare everything to that. See, as I get up here real close to the antenna, I change it quite a bit. But see, there's the voltage, 78.43 millivolts. We're going to write that one down. Now I'm going to change antennas, and we'll start comparing them. But our reference antenna is got a perfect match. We can read 0 reflected power, and that's what we get from that other antenna to this antenna. This antenna matches just as well. So I won't go through all the steps to prove all that, but it's true, and that's our reference. 78.43 millivolts. Let's write that down. Okay, here's our next antenna. I believe it's reading about 127 millivolts. With me at the same distance. Looks like it's a tiny bit higher than that. And that's this antenna. This antenna right here, made and sold by D-Link, and supposedly that's the, if you can read that, SMA 2.4 gigahertz, 7 dBi. Power forward, and that one measures at 0.56, and reflected is 0.06. You can do the SWR if you want to, but that's a pretty good match. 60 millivolts, 0.06, that's 60 millivolts reverse, and or 0.06 watts, I'm sorry, 0.06 watts reverse and 0.55 forward. That's pretty good. I don't know what that SWR will turn out to be, but it's pretty good. But let's write this number down right here, 127.2 millivolts, and so now we have an antenna 127.2 millivolts, and the way that we can, 127.2 millivolts, and the way that we can determine if there's any gain in that antenna, which there obviously is, from 78 to 127, is we do 20 times the log of 127.2 over 78.43. Let's see if we can do that quickly. 127.2. Doesn't matter if it's, we'll make it millivolts and everything. E3, change sign, enter. 78.43, 78.43, E3, change sign, divide. Take the log base 10 of that, multiply that times 20, and we get 4.2 dB. Which actually makes a lot of sense. It's actually doing, the antenna itself is actually doing what it was sold to do. It gave us 4.2 dB of real gain, because it's rated at 7 dBi. The over the isotropic radiator, we would subtract 3 to get it over a dipole, which would be a 4 dB gain, and we're measuring actual 4.2 dB out of that antenna. So it's actually working. Okay, so that's one of them. See, the antennas are working. Not too bad, huh? Let's go to the next one. Got to stop and do another setup. Okay, here's our next antenna. I believe that one's measuring about 131 millivolts. We'll have to go over there and check it in a second. I'm in exactly the same place, standing very still. And this antenna is one right off of a little Linksys access point. And I'm measuring it just exactly the way that it comes, with no ground plane. You know, these little types of antennas, that's normally the way it goes on your router. That would be horizontally polarized. That's going to change things dramatically, so we're not even going to go there. It's forward power. Measures at about 490 milliwatts. I'll leave it in there with a reverse power of nothing. Great match. Wow. I'm very surprised. Really good match. Not a bad little antenna. These little guys right here. Let me, if I can twist that thing off. These little, this one seems to work pretty darn good. Every bit as good as the other one. So the ones that come with your little Linksys routers are probably as good as ones you're going to buy. And that one measured at 131.7 millivolts. 131.7 divided by 78.43. We don't have to do the millivolt thing here. We'll do 131.7, 78.43, 78.43. Divide that, take the log of that, multiply that times 20. We get 4.5 dB. 4.5 dB. Here we had 4.2 dB gain. So this thing gives us 4.5 dB gain over one of these simple monopoles. So that's actually not a bad antenna. One or two of these hooked up properly, and you probably got about as good as you're going to get. Okay, let's do one more vertical. Let's do this little guy right here. See what we get out of it. Okay, there's a little bitty antenna with the little reverse polarity SMA connector on it. I believe that's about 103. And here's what we have there. And that's this little guy. I do have it on a ground plane. Not exactly sure why, but I do. I've been measuring it that way. And our forward power on it measures at 1/2. And our reflective power is 0.04 watts. Actually still quite a good match. Okay. So our gain and loss there, that'd be 103.4. So it'd be 103.4 divided by 78.43. 103.4, 78.43. Divide that. Take the log of that. 20 times 2.4 dB. 2.4 dB gain over our little reference antenna, over our little 1.2 inch. And this actually makes sense. Going from here, I've used this one and this antenna. I have not. No, I've used this one and this one on this PC right here before, when I used that little MetaGeek channelizer thing, and I can see a difference. I can actually see a difference when I use these little antennas right here, and I use that bigger antenna. I'm going to do some experimenting with the other antenna, the one off of the router, so it looks like it's just as good, not near as long. But I do see a difference. I'll see more access points with the longer antenna than I do with this. And the measurements that we just got right here pretty well confirm it. From 2.4 to 4.2. And this one being at 4.5. This is being the better one by far already. Let's see. Here's how they're stacking up. It's this antenna. It's this antenna. 4.2, 4.5, and this little guy right here, 2.4 dB gain over a monopole. Okay, that'll be all of the little vertical antennas I'll do. Now let's get into this quad right here. I think you're going to be surprised. I think it's going to do pretty well. Let's get it set up. Okay, there's that dual quad. That's about 188, even a tad bit over the top there. It's a good 188 to 190. So that one's doing pretty good. And what we have on this one is that's this little quad right here. Our forward power is about 0.65 with reverse of 0.14, 0.17. Not a gigantically wonderful SWR there, but sure get a lot of gain. That's 188, and it was actually a little over the top. Let's call that 190. We got 190 divided by 78.43. 190, 78.43 divide log 20 times 7.69. 7.69 dB. Not bad. Very directional. But we do get a reasonable amount of gain out of it. Not a good 50 ohm match, but we do get a good gain out of it. Possibly tinkering with the spacing and everything might bring your SWR down. You would have to let's turn the RF off. You'd have to play with it quite a bit. But we get 7.7 dB gain out of that one. Not too shabby, but much more directional. Okay, which other should we do? This one right here is a challenge because I have to hold it. I don't think I'm going to do this. I'm not sure I could do anything that's repeatable with it. This one is not. This one's got a longer than should be connection from the end connector to the front, so I won't do it. So maybe that's it. That is a reasonable comparison. Oh yeah, there is one more we must do. Actually, I'm sorry. We must do the cantina. Got to do that. Okay, let's do that one. Let me set it up. Okay. This is the cantina. I believe it's measuring about 162 millivolts. It's punching over the line just a little bit there too. It's actually slightly outdoing, or actually not doing quite as well as, rather, the quad. Kind of interesting, huh? We'll go up there and read it off. It's punching a little bit over the top there, but here's what it is. This is the cantina with the, I can match it. It's got some matching stubs on it too. These little tuning screws right here actually work as far as lowering the SWR. And it's forward. Power right now is 0.52. Reflected is 0. Got a perfect match there. So that's the cantina. And it measures out at about 162 millivolts. Last but not least, let's do it. 162. Yeah, look, the quad did 190 over 78.43. It's not going to do as well as 162, 78.43 divide log 20 times. I get 6.3 dB gain out of the mighty cantina. Very, very directional. So there they are. There. That's how they stack up. hadn't planned on displaying them this way, but actually it worked out pretty good. I get about 4.2 here, 4.5, 2.4, 7.7, and 6.3 out of those antennas in that order, using this as the reference, the 1.2 inch monopole. So this is not perfect. This is my goofy little shop. I don't have a lot of room in here. I certainly do not have an RF anechoic chamber. I have a lot of reflections, so I have to set everything up and even position myself in exactly the same places each time. I won't do these. I believe this one ends up being about the same as this guy right here. I won't belabor it too much. Oh, let's turn the RF off. You know, one of the things that's on my mind that I might point out to you, most of you may know this, but when it comes to reverse polarity connectors, let me show you something. If you don't know if it's a male or a female reverse polarity, here's the way you know it. A female has the threads on the outside like this. That's what makes it male or female. This is a female, but it has a male pin in it, so it's a reverse polarity female. This one right here is the one that has the thread on the inside. That makes it a male. Threads on the outside make it a female, threads on the inside make it a male. But if this were a standard male, it would have a male pin in it, but it has a female pin. So this is a reverse polarity male. This is a reverse polarity female. A female with a reversed pin, a male with a reversed pin. If you look at standard connectors, you'll see that they are exactly what I'm talking about. Female here has female pin and male pin. Like on an SO239, PL259, or an N connector, or whatever. It took me a while to totally understand that when I was ordering parts, did I want a reverse polarity male or a reverse polarity female? You know, which came first, the chicken or the egg? And that's the way that works. So I hope these are informative. You know, this is the best I can do, and I think I'm going to start using one of these if I can get a decent connector on my little scanning antenna that I use on my PC. So I hope this helps everybody in the Wi-Fi industry, Wi-Fi hobby world, not the industry. The industry, I guess, knows what they're doing, but in all cases, keep this connection from here to your router to whatever you're doing absolutely as short as possible. Use big cable if you have to. Use a little short 6-inch pigtail at the end to make it flexible enough, because you can't probably hook up our LMR 400 very well to a skinny little router that only weighs 6 ounces. But the bigger the cable, the less loss you'll have, and that's the way it works. So I hope you enjoy some of these videos, and I hope they're helpful.